Welcome to Behind the Blowhole. My name is Sash. I am here with the lovely Ash Cat. Good morning, Ash Cat.
Oh, good morning. I'm great.
And hi, Andrew.
Hi.
How are you today, sweetheart?
Are
you drinking?
Of course.
All right. How many you got in so far?
I don't know. Who's counting?
He's got to work at 5.
2. No, I think I might call out.
Oh, great.
Well, our good friend, who has become a very good friend to us, is joining us today from his very busy schedule, and we really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Radke.
Woo!
What's up?
From
family?
Bravo's Summer House and many other millions of things. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for having me, Sash. It's good to see you guys.
Good to
Fucking
see
busy
you.
dude.
Yeah,
He
good to see
Came
you.
out to this dump to hang out
I know,
with
to
us.
hang
not
out
a
with
dump.
us.
It is a dump.
I mean,
Twice this summer.
Twice this summer.
Yeah, to hang out at the dump.
And I got to tell you something, right?
And last time was a hit.
What
Oh, it was a
fucking
real hit.
Let me tell you
That
something.
was
good
a
time.
hit. Did we get a number of how many people actually showed?
I don't know, but so I met you a couple of years ago,
Yep.
right? And
I remember when I first came in this office, the first time I met you, Manhattan Beer,
Right.
our Loverboy distributor, told me, he's like, you gotta go to Long Island, you gotta go to Northport, you gotta go to Whale's Tail. They sell a shit ton of hard seltzer there. And Loverboy would be a great place for you to get your
Absolutely.
Yep, 100%.
So that's why I came here. And you and I walked into this office and I was blown away by your charisma and your
Psychoticness.
big personality. But you have a great story. You know, you've been flipping. You had a great comment, which I'll never forget. You're like, Carl, I just flip tacos here or whatever. Or I just make tacos.
Yeah.
that's all we do.
He's a taco maker.
But I have to say, I mean, you and I have a lot in common. You're a man of humility.
Thank
And
you.
I want to say, I feel like we built a nice friendship.
Absolutely.
And-
been through a lot in the last year, but thanks for bearing. Sash wanted me to come on, I think, in the fall last year, or maybe last summer, and just the timing was off.
No,
so
I
this
get
has been a little long overdue. So thank you for the wait and being patient with me.
But the first time you came out, I think it was like right after the pandemic, maybe.
You
right?
came out? Good to know.
Hang in there, Andrew. Hang in there.
Andrew's wishing and dreaming.
And so you were up here in the office, and you were having something to eat, and we were getting ready to go down to the event, and we walk out the door, and some fucking girl is like standing out there, like I guess she got wind that he was here, and she's like sitting there all
I
like
wonder how.
all nervous.
I didn't say shit to no one. What?
Everybody looks
There
at
were
you.
like
Yeah,
5
why is
people
it-
in
why
this.
is it me?
There were 5 people
No,
in here.
not that was the first time he came.
All right,
This
whatever.
time, the people were stalking me out for it. I
And,
don't know.
and she's like, "Can I get a picture?" And you're very gracious, very kind. I mean, with everybody. But I got to tell you something. I've never fucking seen anything like it in my life. There were people waiting 3 hours online to take pictures with you guys.
That was wild. I
was
had my
awesome.
own VIP entrance
I
to
gotta
just
say something.
get in close, get the pics, and get out.
That's
You
funny.
must be fucking hung like a donkey, dude. I'm fucking telling you, man.
God.
And then this time, and you're talking, and I love Ed, different fucking clientele, right? These chicks dressed up to the nines.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, wait 3 fucking hours. I walked. Who's the one girl that works up at Loda, Megan, right? She's standing online the entire time waiting to meet. They were one of the last people, and she's there with her fiance, and it's her time to go up and meet. And she just turns around, doesn't say a word to the fiance. She just fucking shoves the bag at him and just walks. I just look.
Take this.
Take this. I'm going to go meet the
I mean,
guys.
there is all these husbands.
Why even bring him
God,
then?
Boyfriends and men that have to sit there and watch
oh, it's so
their
exciting though.
girls drool over you and Kyle. That was awesome.
We're very lucky. The Bravo fan base, Long Island especially. I mean, we film in the Hamptons, which is, the backyard here. We have an amazing group of people that come and support and watch the show. And obviously Loverboy too. People love the brand. And people come out and they wait. And I think a part of it is they've been following us along we've been on TV now for 9 years.
That's crazy.
Holy shit.
So for 9 years, I have not watched one episode.
And you're no big deal.
No big deal. I know.
She
No
doesn't
big-
watch Bravo
But
or
I think-
anything.
But I think the people that have been watching for this long, they feel like they really know you and they're rooting for you and they get a chance to come and meet you in person. It's a cool way to make the connection. And not every reality show has people like us that do these kinds of events and meet and greets. They're exhausting, honestly. But Kyle and I are people. We love meeting. Anybody who knows Kyle and I, before we were ever on this show, that's how we would be at a big party or a big event, we were always meeting everybody and talking to everybody and being friendly. That's just kind of what we are. But now it's awesome because people, like, they're pumped to see you and they're pumped to meet you. So you get good at, the little conversations.
But you're so humble about it. You like,
we wouldn't be, I wouldn't be at Whale's Tail if it wasn't for Bravo and or this brand, and the people take their time and energy out of their days to come and visit us. Like, the least we could do is offer some kindness back. Like,
well, listen,
the worst feeling ever is you hear those stories and they always say don't meet your hero or whatever. And
right.
I've even had interactions with like artists or athletes of mine that I like obsessed with, and then I meet them in person and I'm like, that guy's a dick. Like, I don't want that feeling. I don't want that to happen with people who watch our show. They already think I'm a dick on the show. I don't want to be a dick in real life. So.
Well, that's the furthest from the truth. But
you're 100%.
You're no dope. I mean, you guys, you got lucky. You got on the show. I wouldn't say luck. I mean, probably.
I mean, there's a lot of luck involved. We were in the right place at the right time. I think Kyle, myself, and some of the other originals, we didn't know what it was going to become. We just wanted to have a good time. We were all about building our friendships and partying and just letting it all hang out. And a big part of what makes, I think, good reality TV is people that are just honest and putting it all out there, not censoring themselves, not producing themselves. And those early seasons of Summer House were, I mean, that's like, we didn't care that the cameras were there. We partied just like we would have without cameras.
Yeah, it was wild.
And
I wish I knew you.
The parties,
it was wild.
I mean, they were taking drinks out of our hands in early seasons because at a certain point, like, we are making a show. And if they can't use certain footage if you're not making a sentence.
Oh my god!
To a certain point,
Good TV to me.
to a certain point. But no, like, meeting the fans or customers or whatever, it's why we do what we do, because I feel really good after I left when we were here last time. Like, I meet people, they're sober, they love our story, or they connect with something else in my life, and that's why it's what it's all about. Like, sure, it's selling some drinks, building a great relationship, but like, I feel like we make an impact and we're connecting with people in such a cool
100%.
way.
That's one of the things that I wanted to say. And as I was saying, I mean, you've certainly taken the platform that you guys got, and you're taking advantage of it in the right way. But when I sat back that day and I watched, and I said at the end of the night, I was blown away. That's how you build a brand. And I always say, what do I always say? One guest at a time? That's what you do?
You're talking about the day of the event, not to cut you off. You're talking about the event.
I'm talking about the meet and greet day of the event a couple weeks ago. And you guys took your time with each individual person, and I'm watching them, talking to them just like you were friends. And let me tell you something. Those people are going to leave. They're going to go to the store. They're going to see that fucking product. And they're going to buy it just because you're fucking awesome.
Not even that. They're always going to remember that, too.
And it's a good
they're
product.
Always remember that
I love
moment,
the product.
too.
But they're going to remember that moment.
Yeah.
And I was blown away from a business perspective. You guys are flying all over the country doing this.
We're doing it. We're going to Dallas on Monday.
It's fucking nuts.
Oh my
Kyle,
God.
Amanda and I are going to, and we've done this in a fair amount of cities. And to be completely honest, we haven't done this enough on Long Island. When we came here a couple weeks ago, that was the first event we'd thrown out here since the prior time I was out here. So I've always been like, Kyle, we got to get back to our backyard and like show some love. So there was an element, I think, of your event last time. We hadn't been here in such a while that was a result of the turnout and all the excitement around it. But yeah, I mean, listen, Kyle taught me a lot too, just interacting with fans and like making a good impression and building a good relationship. Like, those are customers we're going to have for life, hopefully. And
you guys are very, very smart guys. I mean, from a business perspective, and you got a lot going on. So before we jump into it, how did you get on? So you grew up in Pittsburgh, right?
I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I went to Syracuse University. I studied television, radio, and film at the Newhouse School at Syracuse, which is kind of what they're known for. I originally, like, when I was in high school and growing up, like, most people aren't surprised that I'm on like TV. I did the morning announcements. I was like the guy doing some of the.
Oh, so this is like
I get that.
I always had like
voice of,
I always had wanted to do something with a microphone or something involving a camera, but we had like a TV station at the high school I went to. There was all sorts of production, and you could record the Friday night football games and announce them or whatever. And I did a lot of that stuff. So anybody that really knows me from like my high school, even one of my superlatives, I think in 8th grade, was most likely to be on TV.
You're what?
That's
what?
so funny.
You know
what
what
does that mean? No, I have
most
no idea
likely
what that
to
means.
be XYZ.
Okay.
You know those like things in school?
Yeah. I
most
was
likely
like
to be president.
sexiest person alive.
Or most likely to be, an astronaut or whatever it is. There was like a TV thing that I got. But I got on Summer House. It was dumb luck. Kyle, who is one of the people that they found first, Kyle Cook, who you met, he went to like an open casting call for what they described as like a Montauk reality show. And one of Kyle's friends, and this is a true story, Kyle's friend told Kyle, hey man, there's this audition casting thing for a reality show in Montauk. You should go. Like if anyone's gonna ruin the Hamptons, it should be you.
That's fucked up.
That's what he said to Kyle. Well, Kyle's he's a party boy, he's a good time. And I met him partying. But we were friends before this whole show was ever anything. But fast forward, Kyle went to this casting, they loved him, and he's like, you gotta come meet my friends. And I was one of those friends. But I didn't know about it directly until literally a couple weeks before the first day of filming. I was not in the mix at all. They had the original group. I was at my dentist's office. My dentist was a client. I worked in dental sales at this time. And my dentist was friends with Kyle, and I knew that, but that's what bonded our friendship. So I was in the dental chair in May of 2016. I'm getting my teeth cleaned. Upper West Side, New York City. Sorry, Upper East Side. He's like, your boys are going to be on some reality show. And I'm like, what? And in my head, I'm like, I went to college for TV and film. I'd acted and modeled before. And I'm like, what's this show about? He's like, it's some Hamptons reality show. So in the chair while I'm getting my teeth cleaned, I emailed Kyle and Everett. I was like, yo, boys, what's up with this new show? Lane, who was the dentist and our friend, Lane just told me. Kyle emailed back and said, it's funny you ask. We're looking for another guy. And that was almost 10 years ago.
Jesus.
Wow.
I go back out to the lobby of the dentist's office. I got on a call with Kyle later that afternoon, and he was like, this is a really cool thing. Like, we're looking for one more friend to join kind of our group. And I'd done summer houses before, and I'd done share houses, so it wasn't like a foreign concept. Right. Just now there's going to be some cameras following us. But if I don't go to the dentist that day and get my teeth cleaned, I'm not on summer house.
Interesting.
It just doesn't happen.
Wow.
I had to reach out to Kyle about it, and Kyle didn't have me at the top of his list. I mean, me and him were friendly, but we weren't best friends at that point. But it was me.
That's crazy.
I heard
That's
it.
a crazy story
With him, and then I had to still go and interview and get them to know me more and kind of tell my story. And I signed up. Honestly, I remember thinking Kyle was like, dude, it's not all about meeting chicks and like partying. He's like, it's a platform. And the only person I really knew on Bravo at that time was Bethany Frankel. And she had the brand.
She's got her own.
She had the
look
brand
where
Skinny
she
Girl.
went.
Skinny Girl, yeah.
She did very well professionally.
Look where she went.
And I saw that. I was like, okay, there's something there's something that could come of this.
So even at the conception, the platform was always the agenda.
100%. And we didn't know what it would have been at that moment. But funny enough, a couple weeks after I signed up and we're about to start filming, we had a meeting with production, and they said to us, you guys buy the groceries and alcohol for the house. Now, when we go out to dinner, maybe we'll pick up a drink or two.
Right, because they want you to like interact out.
They wanted it to be an organic thing, like a real group of friends that rent a house. You're going to talk about groceries for the weekend. You're going to talk about what alcohol you're serving or drinking. So we had the foresight back then to know we had to get, either we were buying it for ourselves or we could get it from some companies for free.
Sure.
Right.
So we knew someone at Whispering Angel, which is a rosé brand.
Yep.
And we knew someone at Budweiser. They dropped off Bud Light. And someone knew someone at Boston Beer. And Boston Beer made Twisted Tea.
Okay.
So if you watch the first season of Summer House, the 12th cast member is rosé and Twisted Tea. But we got it all for free.
Sure.
Because if we didn't, we would have to pay for it with our own money, and we weren't making a lot of money doing the show. So the second summer,
you still had another job.
Yeah, we still had full-time jobs then.
Right.
But the second summer, we were drinking so much Twisted Tea, which is loaded with sugar.
Oh, so much sugar.
Hangovers were gnarly.
It's not gluten-free.
It's horrible for you. Like, they don't even put the ingredients on the can because you can't even pronounce half the ingredients. Oh. We know that because we actually asked the Boston Beer person we got in contact. Like, what's in it? And she didn't know. She couldn't figure. She had to go to the company and find like a nutritional thing. Yeah. Long story. Kyle and I were scratching our heads. How is there not a healthier hard tea? Also, we were pissing off Bravo because Bravo has a large advertising relationship with Budweiser. And if you're Budweiser and you're paying advertising on a show called Summer House, and then you watch the actual show and they're drinking anything but Bud Light,
right?
Yeah,
Sure.
Why are you going to spend money there? So there was a conflict there.
But not everyone's beer drinkers. Like, sorry, I mean, you don't make anything but beer. But
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what was starting to shift then, because some of the girls at that time, I remember vividly, I opened the fridge. This is season 2 of Summer House, 2017. I open the fridge, I see a white slim can, and it says White Claw. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I knew you were going to say Celsius.
I go, what is this? It literally looks like a joke. And we pull it out, and the girls were like, oh, it's light, refreshing, it's zero sugar.
Right.
And I literally made fun of them. And then fast forward a year later, we were looking at this market of seltzer. White Claw was on the market. Truly Remember the Boston beer thing? So we started getting
Yeah.
Trulies.
Yeah, those
sent
are
to
gross,
us.
but
again, our thought
never
was
mind.
we could do this better. We can make something that's healthier and like taste better and make a cooler brand.
And you got the platform.
So
Yeah.
if it wasn't for being on Summer House, Loverboy never would have been born. Now Kyle's an entrepreneur, very, very smart. He came up with this concept and idea. He told me, I'm like, brilliant. Not everybody said that to him early on. Everybody was like, you're an idiot. What the fuck? Blah, blah, blah. And I bought in. I'm like, I want to be involved. I want to invest. And I want to work with you. And that's what happened.
So let me ask you a question, because it's one thing to have the platform, which you do. But in order to do anything right, you need the resources. Other than, I mean, like it costs money. It does.
Sure.
Did you guys get backing on this?
When Kyle first started the idea, he bankrolled it with his own money. I think he put in maybe a little over $100,000 of his own money.
Ooh, yikes.
Maybe a little bit more. And then he asked friends and family. So there's an iconic episode of Summer House back in 2017 or 18 where Kyle asks Amanda's dad if he can marry her. And this was at an
That's who
event where
friended
he
me.
was throwing like a friends and family event for Loverboy. You don't notice it on the show. It's more about Kyle asking the dad, but the event we were at was Kyle's first foray and saying, I'm starting this business called Loverboy. I'm asking you guys for some money.
Yeah, can I get some money?
He raised
Like a dowry.
He raised almost, I think, $1 million or a little over $1 million from friends and family. And
No
some-
shit.
and
Wow.
from some other like
Wow.
sophisticated friend.
How do I do all that?
So once we had
Just to go
that
shopping.
commitment, it was we worked tirelessly to get this product developed and in the right production and co-packing. You know some of this with your beer brand you
Yeah.
did, the Harbor Head, and that's where we were like, what did we just get ourselves into?
It's not easy.
It's a tough business.
And if you don't have the money,
Very capital intensive.
you might as well just fucking
Don't
have
do it.
somebody hand you 10 grand, kick you in the nuts, and come out a winner.
Well, and
Because-
it's a big game of just who spends more money, especially with the big players
No
in
doubt.
alcohol. And we had a different advantage because of the TV element and the social
sure,
element.
100%.
But-
raising your hand or showing us your engagement ring.
All the
No.
above.
Yeah.
No, forget the ring. It's about to come off anyway. No, can I just be honest with you?
That's because Carl's here.
Yeah, right. No, that's,
No.
no. You guys have transformed it from just being Loverboy to the amount of the non-alcoholic seltzers that you put out. If I went into any of the fridges in any of the liquor stores, Lord knows I'm a fan of all the liquor stores, but you guys put out a lot of non-alcoholic ones. They taste phenomenal, and you could just drink it without having to worry about it.
Yep.
Truly doesn't do that, not to my knowledge, allegedly.
Not yet.
White
White
Claw,
Claw,
no.
like
They have
you
one.
They do?
Yeah. I've
Whatever.
tasted it. It's actually pretty decent. But I'm glad. I think it's all rising tides. Like, I'm glad White Claw has an alternative because I think it's just important. It's not necessarily all for the sober people. It's just
It
you
seems
need
like they're
you
like-
need a
You need
break.
something
It's
else,
moderation.
yeah.
It's just having options.
It's almost
Well-
like they're competing with you now, because I feel like I've noticed a lot that we have downstairs, and it's like, oh, this is non-alcoholic, it's this flavor. Oh, this is non-alcoholic, it's this flavor. The other companies don't do that. As far as I've seen, I mean,
Well, there's some of the companies are starting to do more of it, but what I've been reading, the reason they do it, it actually still is a way to stay relevant for your alcohol business.
right.
And a lot of the data shows about 85 to 90% of the sales of non-alcoholic drinks, whether it's at a bar or at a retail store,
Right.
they're made by people that still drink alcohol. So think
Huh.
about that. The
Interesting.
percentage
Fun
of people that
fact.
are like
Wow.
sober and don't drink ever any alcohol, they're not the ones that are going to move the needle. It's the folks that are still drinking but also taking a break, whether it's women that are pregnant, menopausal, lifestyle choices. I met a guy the other day who has Lyme disease. He can't drink alcohol anymore. He has
Ooh,
to,
yikes,
He has to be very
God.
careful. And like, he loved to drink, but he's not sober. He's just like, I can't drink anymore because I need to stay alive. So there's a lot of different reasons, I think, but alcohol brands, I think, have seen. Well, Gen Z doesn't drink.
Well, I was going to say, there's certainly the
much.
market share is
Yeah, they really.
really significantly shifting to non-alcoholic, and this will bring us to a couple of the other things because you got a lot of other things going. But
I'm gonna have one while we're talking.
people don't drink that much anymore.
No.
You know why people don't drink anymore? Because
DWIs.
No, because everyone's on Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, all that, and the drinking, you basically have one cocktail and you're fucking
Fucked up.
falling
It's like
off
drinking
the
on
stairs.
antibiotics.
Oh, that sounds
You're
fun.
falling
I
off
should start
you're
drinking
falling down the stairs. So
But-
you need one cocktail and you're like lit like a menorah. So I'm just saying, and you know about menorahs, but
Thanks.
I think
welcome.
something happened though during COVID and like just mentally for all of us. I mean, some people had positive COVID, some people had negative ones. I just feel like it just mentally shifted a lot of people's like behavioral.
100%.
You're either really self-aware of like your behavior,
or you're a fucking disaster.
whether it's your family or profession. Like there's plenty of reasons that people have now, I think, realized and understood themselves a little bit better. Information spreads easier. It's a lot easier to look like a fucking asshole and ruin your life because of alcohol, just because of social media.
Well,
so like I think people are a lot more aware now of how they act and they're
So
realizing.
I wanted to ask, I mean, as you guys were developing the non-alcoholic brand of it, you don't drink, you stopped years ago, it's public, people know that.
Which is great because that's a lot to kind of air on TV.
Sure.
Going from
It's commendable.
going from the beginning of the seasons to you transitioning into the sobriety part, that's a huge thing. And I had pancreatitis twice. It's hard for me, who's a drinker, then you're out and about and you're with people who drink and you're out and about at a club or like wherever. You kind of don't know what to do with yourself. So like, at least even like down in the restaurant, someone's sober, I hear them asking like, okay, yeah, have a lover boy. It's non-alcoholic. Like you can have that.
Yep.
So they still feel like they're part of the hanging out
that part.
part, but they don't have to worry about breaking the sobriety chain either.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing to see like when people start realizing there are these options. I myself didn't really realize. I mean, when I started getting sober 3.5 years ago, O'Doul's
Good for you.
was the like what you hear of. And O'Doul's, I'm gonna raise my hand and say, like, anybody who I ever saw drinking O'Doul's, you're like alcoholic, like you're a dasshole, like internally.
Right.
You judge.
That's a beer, right?
It's a beer.
Yeah.
It's actually owned by Budweiser.
I can't
But
drink beer.
O'Doul's has a connotation of like you're an alcoholic and you're in recovery, and like not everybody wants to hold that in their hand.
That's funny.
Why
That's
it's
Interesting.
absolutely true.
screams.
Wow.
It just screams
Non-alcoholic?
Like,
I don't
it
understand.
screams that you're like you have a major problem.
Well, because who the fuck would drink an O'Doul's?
I don't know what that
I
means.
don't know. I mean,
O'Doul's is
I
a
drink
non.
one.
It's a very. It's
disgusting.
It's an 80-year-old. It's a very old, like meaning like Budweiser, the beer brand.
Yeah.
Shortly after that beer brand was created, they created another non-alcoholic label called O'Doul's. It's been around for 80 years.
Wow.
And you would never drink it.
You would never really
in a million
I
years.
can't
or
even
drink it.
finish a real beer, let alone a
So-
beer like
so-
that.
I'm
that-
allergic.
was gonna
I
say
can't
that
even drink
Andrew
beer,
has a good
so-
point about like holding something in your hands.
Oh, absolutely.
Is a huge component of just feeling more comfortable when you're in drinking environments, but not drinking. But what we try to do is create a product that tastes really good.
Yep.
But it's not terrible for you. This is
And
only 10 calories and 0 sugar.
10 calories.
That's
But it's in a
great.
can that look like I'm out with this. People think I'm drinking.
Exactly.
That's
I was
exactly
gonna
what
say
I
that.
want you to think
Yeah.
in a way.
I love what you guys have conquered with doing this. Like I said, I have
Thanks.
not noticed this with any. I was a big. You can ask Ashley. I went through a big White Claw phase.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Trulies are syrupy and gross and malty taste, whatever. These taste phenomenal. You also make a non-alcoholic one that I haven't really noticed on the shelves with
Andrew's
these other
kissing his
companies.
ass. He wants to bang him. Guys.
he's
Well,
Thanks for putting on another nice shirt
I'm
that
gonna-
you must
I'm
have
gonna send
busted
it-
out of a 3-pack special from Polo.
Come
By the
on.
way, those 3-pack specials are pretty money. Andrew, we'll have to get you some Loverboy merchandise for all of your support on this
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, 100%.
I
So-
love all my merch.
I'll get you too.
So now you have a new project, Colin, which
you, baby.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Which
Thank you.
I want to hear about. What the
Yeah.
fuck was that, my phone? Soft bar.
Soft bar, yeah.
And
looks
I
cool.
see right now, are you looking for brick and mortar right now?
Yeah.
All
So
right.
I'll bring you up to speed kind of how the whole thing. So I, for the last 3.5 years, been living and breathing sobriety. You know, I've been working with Loverboy. We launched this non-alcoholic drink last year. And there's certain stores now, they're in New York City, they're in other major cities, but it looks like a liquor store, but it's only non-alcoholic drinks for sale.
Wow.
That's
The
awesome.
stores, there's a few in New York. I went into them last year and I had them selling Loverboy non-alcoholic there. And I went in after a workout and I walked in the store, and it's a small store and it's kind of like a typical wine store, but only non-alcoholic drinks. And I look around and I'm shopping and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Like, what am I doing here? I go home and I live in New York City, the hospitality capital of the world. And at this point, there really isn't a space or bars or cafes that have all of these drinks that are on this shelf. They just live in this store and then you drink them at home. How is there not a space or a place where you can go and
Right.
sit down and enjoy them all
Agreed.
in an environment that's cool and
Oh,
inviting?
yeah. That would be great.
So I had this like concept idea. My original idea was a sober sports bar. I love sports. I was an athlete. obviously, I thought you could still have a fun time watching good games. You could have Pop-A-Shot. You could have maybe air hockey. You could have good wings, good food, non-alcoholic drinks only. That idea I said out loud on the TV show. It went like kind of viral because a lot of people were like, that's the dumbest idea ever. And then other people were like, this is brilliant. I had a lot of people react to it, and so many people so that I've like started to generate a lot of momentum from that. And then it's funny what you say out loud, and when you start screaming out loud like what you want to do, like how many people came towards that.
Yeah, because they want to run with your idea.
Yeah, they loved it. People
You didn't
believed it.
trademark it or do anything yet, so
It was still like kind of an idea in my head, but that gave me momentum and a confidence that I had something, because it was very polarizing on both sides. It was like 1,000 people said this is the greatest thing, I want to come, and then 500 other people said this is dumb. And I'm like, that's the dumb people got me fired up enough that I'm like, I want to go for this.
Kind of like American politics.
But this isn't out of like
Let's
a
leave
this isn't a
politics out of
spite
it.
thing. It was something I'm never going to drink alcohol again. I come from a family that has alcoholism. My brother passed
too.
from a drug overdose. Like
Oh,
it's
I'm
very
so
important
sorry
to
to
me.
hear that.
Thanks. I've been very open about it, so I kind of not gloss
yeah,
over it.
I thought
but
I had heard that.
I feel like for me, living a life without alcohol and other hard drugs is the best way for me.
So I mean, it's
So-
also part passion project, I would imagine,
Big time passion.
which is it's great.
Because it combines all of my kind of skill sets. Like I'm a really good connector and networker. I have a really good ability to build relationships. And then I also I love the creativity of like coming up with like a concept that actually really hasn't been done. So what I'm bringing together that actually hasn't been done. There are sober bars, but they're only open a certain couple days a week, only certain hours. They're weird. I've been to them. Some of them have, other programming.
What
whether-
is
like
the
a tarot card
reasoning for
reader.
that?
What?
Like, what
Like
is
a
the
safe
reasoning for, like, you would
space?
think, for people that are sober, you would think that they would want it open on a Friday night, a Saturday night, so they could feel
So some of these
part of society instead of, like, outcast type situation.
Totally. Well, the one bar I'm referencing, which is where I filmed at this bar when I said this idea out loud. I was
In the
at,
city,
I
I'm
filmed at a
assuming?
sober bar, and at the sober bar, I literally go, I want to start a sober sports bar. And that's what this whole thing, but the bar that we filmed, it's owned by a woman who owns the bar across the street. She opened it up really just for
Genius.
her sober friends as like another getaway. It's a great spot. I would love what she's done there, but I think there's another level to what we're doing. And what I believe is that the secret is coffee. And most places, if you think about a coffee shop, is really busy from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Right.
But then from
Yep.
2 p.m. to midnight, it's either no one wants to drink that much coffee in the afternoon because maybe they can't sleep at night. But if you go to a coffee shop at 2 p.m., they don't have Loverboy non-alcoholic. They don't have anything other than coffee. But if you go to a bar at 2 p.m., they don't have good coffee.
Yeah, dope. I
So
agree.
basically, and you have those spaces from a business perspective that are open or closed. So we're just going to combine into one. So we have a bar and cafe for mindful consumption. This is not a sober bar. Every person, all walks of life, all lifestyles are welcome. Not everybody's comfortable putting their hand up and saying they're sober. So I realized, let's have everybody come in. And I think coffee is kind of the Trojan horse. Most people will come in and get a coffee.
I see what you do.
That's-
That's great.
Yeah.
A lot of people on their first
Okay.
dates don't necessarily want to actually go on a drinking occasion. A lot of women, actually. If you poll 90% of women, their first date, they prefer actually not to have an alcoholic drink.
Like a coffee
For
shop.
safety, for security, and just comfortable. Like, I get it. Like, I know how I was after 8 beers versus 0. I'm a lot more.
So fucked up.
But I also think, too, when you really want to get to meet someone, meeting them sober is actually how you should get to meet them. Most
No,
people,
I
a lot of people
100%
form
agree.
Yeah,
relationships.
because you got to deal with
A lot
them on
of
a
people
regular
form-
basis
you form
sober.
relationships with people when you're only under the influence.
I got to say what's interesting is because I'm very disconnected to like the Gen Z. And
Which is what ages now? Like what? We're on
What am I, a
letters.
millennial? God damn it.
Here, I'm gonna
Millennials.
pull it.
What?
I just searched it the
Don't
other day because
tell
I
me.
wanted to know.
they didn't even have these fucking non-alcohol or not the cocktail
This is flash,
cans
right?
when I was younger. So I
flash.
remember going in the woods at a keg party in like 1996, and like the punchline is like, I just saw 2 kids sharing a Zima. So like
Zima.
exactly, I never
Zima is White Claw before White Claw.
exactly. I never drank during the time of the canned cocktail. That's all these people do.
Cans-
And like you're talking about like on the show, Summer House, like they're all drinking like the White Claws and now the Lover Boys and shit like that. If I was to do a show like that, it would just be a bunch of fat dudes with man tits fucking funneling Budweisers.
Oh my god.
Because that's all that we did. They didn't have other options. So I'm a little disconnected to this generation.
Well,
Understandable.
I just pulled it up. So millennials, if you were born in 1981 to 1996, you were a millennial.
Damn it.
Okay.
Your Gen Z, if you were born in 1997 to 2012. And then your generation Alpha.
What the fuck is that?
Alpha is the next generation that is you were born in 2013 and beyond.
That's like an iPad kid.
So if you were just born yesterday,
Like my kids.
you're
AI.
generation Alpha. But the Gen Zs,
You got three alphas.
they look at alternatives. They're doing THC, they're doing mushrooms, they're
Right.
vaping. They are also very understanding more of their bodies.
No doubt.
And I think social media is a big factor. Like when I was in high school, I'm 39. I went to high school, I graduated in 2003. But when I was in high school, we didn't have social media. But I drank a little bit in high school, but I would never have drank in high school whatsoever had I known if there was someone maybe with a camera or my parents or the school district or my coach of my football team. So I think people are a lot more careful with their behavior because of the exposure and the risk of just getting caught
It
on
makes
camera.
sense, but I gotta say.
somewhat debatable about that.
No, it makes sense, but I gotta say, you guys missed out. Because
Oh, I listen. I didn't miss out on shit.
I don't think I missed
Yeah,
out
I
on
did not
a
leave
single
one-
bit of
Yeah.
life.
I
One
don't
line
know.
undone. I did not leave one can left undrank.
I'm a little
let's say-
reserved
I'm not
now,
saying
but I was
us
a
at
crazy
this
bitch.
table. I'm
so-
talking
Yes.
about like Gen Z and the millennials because I used to go. We had like the video cameras before Jackass came out, and we would like go around like be like, "Show us your tits" and shit like that, and you know. And
I still
You were
have
like Girls
like
Gone
all
Wild
my
we were like girls
Viral
Gone Wild and
$500
Jackass.
cameras.
Like, I think for me, alcohol and cocaine were becoming unmanageable and ruining my life, and that's why those are the substances that I really need to remove. Now, in my recovery, I still use a little bit of THC.
So you're not sober.
I believe THC saved my life. I am sober because how I define my sobriety. I'm not powerless over marijuana. I can turn it off and turn it on whenever I want. I don't use it every day. But for me, I look at THC like a supplement. Like people take vitamins or electrolytes.
Well, yeah.
That is how I look at it. I don't take any prescriptions anymore.
It helps me in my mental state, to be quite honest. I have
There's-
such bad anxiety
Is it
issues.
helping you?
Yeah, it does.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
research
yeah.
for alternative. Like I would rather take THC than take Xanax. And I'm
Any
You
day.
can print that
Any day.
all day long.
I would actually agree with that.
Any day, yeah.
Because
no.
I don't want to be on prescriptions that
Nope.
I believe are worse for your mental health than the latter, which is for me, THC actually is beneficial.
I mean, I've never wanted anything else. I've never even tried cocaine. So.
Somebody told me today that crack is making a big comeback.
Crack.
Yeah, crack.
Are
That's
you
kinda
excited
cool.
about that?
Yeah, you
Crack
seem
is-
like really pumped about
Crack
crack.
is back.
Crack is
Crack is
cooler
fucking
than
whack.
than
It's
Crack
not
is-
whack.
Can I
crack
share a
is
fun
whack.
fact? When I was in high school, my nickname, because my first name Carl, so I was called C, and my last name Radke, but it was called Rack for short. So people called me C-Rack, and then it became Crack.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't like that nickname.
Did you ever smoke crack? You didn't smoke.
I never smoked crack.
Tell me about. So I see you guys traveling around. You have like you're mobile now.
Soft bar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talked to a bunch of different like entrepreneurs about starting a company, and I learned a lot with Kyle and like Loverboy. I didn't want to sign a lease on a location just out of the gate. I wanted to build the brand first and get
Like it.
kind of what we're offering, our menu, the drinks we serve, just the experience. I wanted to get that out there, and it's a lot easier and cost effective. So we bought a Mercedes Sprinter van. Me and my business partner customized it. Had
There
it
you go.
wrapped,
That's the way to
Yeah,
do it.
what's
branded.
awesome.
We've been able to do very flexible, nimble pop-ups, and we're going to keep doing that until our location's open.
Now,
So-
where are you doing it? Are you kind of like working with like businesses, and you're like, hey, can I come here? Or-
Yeah, it's with typically what I'm looking at is like wellness, fitness, plugging into like current like community type things.
Go
whether
to like a gym or something.
gyms. So we were at Barry's Boot Camp in Southampton. I hosted a class. We were in the parking lot with our Sprinter van parked. So after you took a class, you walked out to the parking lot. We had like post-workout recovery shots.
That's nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
We
that-
had really cool non-alcoholic beverages. We also do mushroom coffee, not the psychedelic, but healthy mushrooms.
Lion's
Lion's
Head.
mane. Lion's mane.
Whatever.
Oh,
fun.
wow.
So
Wow.
we did Barry's
Who
Boot
knows
Camp.
that?
We did another workout gym called Post House in
Party.
Sag Harbor, and then we did Surf Lodge, which is more of just a fun venue. And
You
then
gotta bring some back this way.
we're going to.
Bring it.
Well, maybe we do a
Yeah,
pop up here at the Whale's
do
Town.
it
You
here.
are always more than welcome. I was going to say you're more than welcome to. I just didn't know if you would think like, hey, we're
We-
going to get drunk at the Whale's
This
Tail
place
and
is
then-
bougie and shit.
I think there's ways to
Sucks.
do it. I mean, we want to plug into. like I said, things that make sense. So we also did the Kate Spade Women's Mental Health Summit last
That's
week.
great.
I saw that. That was fantastic.
was powerful.
That was very cool.
So I'm proud of that. It was a women's summit. However, I was asked to speak a little bit on just men's mental health, and also our company, Soft Bar, provided the drinks for the entire day. Simone Biles was the keynote speaker.
Oh, love her.
Fucking amazing.
That's
She
cool.
just,
She's
the
wild.
greatest of all time for sure. And we had some other powerful women, but in an environment of mental health and domestic violence, a lot of difficult conversations, having non-alcoholic drinks was the perfect complement to the day.
What's a normal day look like for you? Because you have publicists.
I have a publicist and an assistant.
I mean, you have a fucking team.
I'm an early bird. I wake up naturally. I don't drink coffee. I'm up usually by 6:30 in the morning every day, just naturally.
And what time do you go to bed?
I'm usually in bed. I have a bedtime alarm to remind me. It's for 11 p.m., but I'm usually in bed right a little after that.
So before everybody got here, we were talking a little bit about like our story, self-help, things like that, blah, blah, blah.
Sasha and I have a lot more in common than I realized.
Yeah, we have
in
one
a
thing in
really
common.
profound way, too. I mean,
But
I feel very connected.
Going from you being not sober to the being sober, I even think that made a major impact to a lot of people, showing that it's not easy by any means.
No.
And it's possible. You just have to put your mind and your soul and everything into it to try to be sober. I think that's a major accomplishment for
Thank
you.
you.
I've never heard Andrew this coherent in one of our podcasts.
No, it's really, I appreciate that, Andrew.
Like he's really making sense, bringing up good points today. Can
When
you just
he-
get drunk and
he
say
is-
inappropriate things?
But why? Why does everything always? Why does the podcast always have to go that way?
I don't know. I just like you drunk.
He's
I appreciate
intelligent.
I appreciate him saying that. I mean, a lot of people.
But it's true. It's true that I mean that from the heart, because when I had to
can feel
do
it.
sobriety against my will with the pancreatitis two
Oh,
times
yeah.
that I was in the hospital, and then they were like, "You got to do 90 days sober," and then you had to do whatever, and I was like, I introverted. I didn't know how to leave the house.
He didn't know. Yeah,
maybe
he
our
was
next
done.
episode is an intervention with Andrew. What do you think? Can we get you sober? Can we get you sober?
I don't think I genuinely. I mean, you're the one telling me to get drunk at 1:00 in the afternoon
Well,
when I'm supposed
you're
to be fucking.
entertaining.
He's supposed to work tonight, by the way. Thanks.
Yeah, so you really jacked that up, and I already had to reach out
I'm
to
just
find
trying to
coverage.
exploit you, but
I appreciate Andrew saying that. I've had a lot of commentary
yeah.
and I don't want to say praise, but just a lot of support and a lot
No,
of
it is praise. It is praise.
It feels really good.
It's
I think
a lot. It's hard.
I don't think I realized at that time, like I was doing this for myself. Like it was to save my life. Like I had a major cocaine problem. I had a major alcohol problem. After my brother had passed away, went down a very dark hole. Like I was using by myself. I was calling people late at night and early in the morning, scaring them, saying crazy shit. Like I needed to get help, but like I was lucky that it happened when it did because of COVID, that I was able to kind of be in kind of lockdown like everybody else, but didn't have bars to go to, didn't have a lot of options. And that was kind of what forced me into like really looking in the mirror, but it wasn't overnight. Like I kicked and screamed and I'm like, just like you, I got 90 days in. 91st day, called the cocaine guy, got super drunk and fucked up. Like I couldn't.
sure.
Yeah,
Stay to it.
Done
did
that.
you go to like meeting? Like what
I go to
was
meetings
your helping cure? I mean, I didn't go to meetings. I didn't do any of that. I was just told like your pancreas is in jeopardy.
That's
so
kind of a sign.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just saying.
yeah. the
whatever. If
physical
I
health-
die tomorrow, I die tomorrow. I could die in a car accident.
I think me and Carl are going to sponsor you. What do you think?
You and how long are you sober now?
3 years.
3 years?
3 years.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yes,
Saj.
it is.
I'm impressed.
I'll drink to that.
Alcohol at the end of the day is a poison. It is depressant. It does take a lot of lives and causes a lot of challenges. So I think I'm not trying to be preachy. Everybody's on their own journey, what works best for them. It's just, I'm lucky that I was able to realize that I had to make a choice and decide that I need to get help. I had a serious problem. But what's really beautiful is when you put your hand up and you actually share like you're struggling and just putting it out there, the support and like, it just was like crazy. I didn't expect it. I was so scared to raise my hand and be like, I have a problem. But when you do that,
Recognize you in meetings and stuff.
I got a DM this morning asked me to speak at a meeting in Tribeca. You know, I get asked a lot now to participate in different groups. But what originally like jump-started me, a friend of mine I used to party with really hard in LA. He worked at Goldman Sachs, very successful, but drugs and alcohol were taking him out of that. He
Shocker in that
help,
business.
got his life in order. He had watched some of the show and heard that I was kind of getting sober, and he called me. He's like, "Are you going to AA?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "You're not staying sober." And he was one of those guys, like he was kind of he shot me hard. He was like tough,
Sure.
kind of
Tough
told
love.
me what's up. And he's like, "Well, call me when you're ready." So fast forward, my brother had passed. I was down a dark end again. And I finally, after what I describe as my rock bottom, which was in early January of 2021, I drank a bunch of wine, did a bunch of coke, called a bunch of people, like threatened my life, woke up in a daze and was like, I could not live like that again. But I called him and I said, I need actual help. Very quickly, he put me in touch with a sponsor. And then kind of to Andrew's point about the 90 days, I did what they call 90 and 90. I did 90 meetings in 90 days. Every day for that 90 days, I read the 12 steps. I worked the steps with a sponsor and like really dedicated my kind of life to that program for the next year. And I'm lucky that I was still able to be on the show while doing some of that, because that first year was really messy. It was awkward.
sure.
It's gotta
Sure.
be
So hard. Like it's more about like you can white knuckle it, like you can not drink, but it was all the emotions and feelings and like the environment I was in. I was going back out to the Hamptons, to the same fucking places I would buy cocaine from.
Right.
And like
You don't want
they talk
yeah.
about people, places, and things a lot, and you kind of need to build some boundaries. But I was lucky. I had a lot of friends who supported me in this, and they just knew like how dark and down I was from my drinking and cocaine use, and they could, I think, see slowly over time that I was improving, and like people kept rallying around me, and here I am.
So you
almost
had a
4
good
years.
support system.
Massive amount of support.
But
that's a big
have
part
a
of
good
saying it out
support
loud.
system.
The more you're loud about it, I think
I do.
I was lucky. But some people, they burn bridges. Their family hates them. If they raise their hand and say, "I've got a problem," I hope their family will embrace them. But not everybody's comfortable saying that.
You really see the success that you had, because I believe everything happens for a reason. You have an opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. So with all the haters that are out there, you got something to say? Why don't you reach out to the fucking guy and have him help you instead of being fucked up? Because this is a good
100%.
man right here.
And mean. Don't be mean.
I actually do calls with people DM me. I try to respond to as many people as I can. I get a lot of questions about sobriety or addiction or I lost a sibling. I try to respond. I've done calls with people if they really want. I
That's
want to just
great.
be a support, but the key ingredient, and I say this a lot, like people stop me in the street. I know you asked me if people see me in the street. I was in a New York City subway recently, got out, it was like Midtown. And I'm walking out, leaving, coming up to the street level, and this girl just sees me and stops. She's like, you're the reason I got sober.
That's amazing.
And she was like shaking because of me being in her presence, and I'm like kind of shaking because I don't.
Why? Because it's your like little celebrity
I'm
status
overwhelmed
type
by
thing.
it. I mean, yeah, I'm tall, so I get recognized a fair amount in New York. Whatever.
You're tall?
And I appreciate being recognized. It's fun. It's an ego stroke for sure. But when it's this level of like, I recognize you and you saved my life or you helped me, I was blown away by that. But what I said to her in that moment was like, now it's your turn to pass this on to someone else you know. Because you're going to inspire people in your little circle and your family more than you realize. I'm on a fucking reality show on Bravo, and me? How the hell did I help you get, like, that's where my head goes, but it makes sense. Like, she just needed someone to identify that she could relate to and connect with, and I was that person. But what I said is, you got to go that's how it works.
You know
pass
what?
that on
Yep.
to someone else.
I
in your
gotta
life.
say, I did not expect this podcast to go this way. I thought we were going to talk about all the chicks that want to fuck Carl, and it turned into something good.
Well, can I say, like, even that
Which is what
that sentiment around, like, I was never viewed as that kind of guy in high school. Like, I was just kind of everybody was friends with me. I wasn't like the jock that everybody wanted to fuck. In college, that wasn't who I was. And then even on reality TV, I'm the guy that most people don't like. So I don't subscribe to like that kind of thing all
I'm
the time.
just fucking with you. I love
No, I know.
just-
Like, I've had people say that, and I'm like, I appreciate that, but I'm
gotta be
just
honest,
I'm an average guy. Like, I'm not anything special. If I was attractive the way you're describing, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
I think you're a little more than an average guy.
I
my
gotta be
friend.
honest.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you hear, fucking do it, man. Carl, God bless you.
Suck
do
one.
it.
Thanks for coming. He's got to pay.
Don't be sorry.
All right, everybody. Peace. Suck a dick.